straight garbage.
I told you, man, he keeps way better than mine, man.
Hey, man, so, you know, something L3 is coming up with, what to talk to y'all about, man. How many of y'all know about flowcharts, man? How many of y'all ever heard of the term flowchart out there?
Yeah, you know, somebody's like a flowchart player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. I think like the most common example people have heard lately is, you know, somebody's a flowchart Ken. It's like in the Street Fighter, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm under the mindset that there actually are flowcharts that are good.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that flowcharts have their place in two concepts, alright? Concept number one being in tournament play. I feel like there's nothing wrong with having 3 full mapped out variations of a flowchart, okay? Full on flowchart. From beginning to end, this is going to get you up out of there if you guess wrong. So, you got round 1 flowchart. Start off with maybe like a hot kick right out the box. You know what I'm saying? Just let them know you wild right out the box. And then play super solid. Then you get the flowchart number 2, where you throw right at the beginning of the match. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe sidestep, do some bull jive, go low like 15 times in a row. Make some crazy pattern. Then the third round, just completely bonkers. Okay? All the way out there.
Going crazy.
Then you switch it up in the next fight. After they lose them 3?
This place like super solid.
Yeah, then you switch up super solid at the top of the match. Super crazy bonkers. Second round. Then third round, more conservative. You know what I'm saying? Get them all the way messed up. You know what I mean? Tear them all the way out the frame. Folks will not know what in the world to do with that right there until, you know, until I guess maybe they catch on to you. But you only got 2 games. And if you got 3 solid mix-up rounds, I'm saying map them things all the way out, practice them every day to their second nature. Extra gross. I also feel like, and this I want to talk to y'all about, I want to go over. I feel like there is a place for flowcharts in helping you get good in the game. But not your typical flowchart. The flowchart I came up with, I'm going to give us some small examples of it. It is a flowchart where you take and make a whole bunch of flowcharts and put them together. So what I mean by that is, let's say you take a situation like so. Well, I'm gonna actually pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up. Let me get over here to it right quick. Perfect. Let me pull this up right quick, man. All right, y'all. So let us flowchart, okay? Marty, how you like that? You like
Nice.
that?
It's nice. I like it.
Let's flowchart. Let's talk.
Let's flowchart.
Let's flowchart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's do it.
You know what I mean? So I know y'all probably thinking to yourself like, man, how could you ever be out here promoting flowcharts, brother? Like, why would you do? I would not expect somebody of your caliber to be out here talking about flowcharting it up. Well, guess what, brother? I'm here, and I'm telling you, let us flowchart, okay? We about to get this thing up and popping real quick, like. So let's check out flowchart number 1, right? The biggest and best in flowcharts. If I can pull it up, hold on, there we go. Alright, so we got this flowchart here, right? Now you're thinking to yourself like, whoa, what is this right here? What kind of convoluted bull jive is this you got sitting up here in front of me right now, man? Well, alright, let's take it out. Let's say you got a situation. The situation is you starting off in a standing position, right? Standing neutral game.
Okay.
Alright, so we got 2 options from our standing neutral game that we're going to use with stand chart number 1. Stand chart number 1, we have the opportunity to do down forward 1, and then from down forward 1, if it hits, we reset back to a stand chart. Now we'll have more than one stand chart. We'll have stand chart 2, stand chart 3, all the way up to infinite amount of stand charts. Okay. All you need to know is that your stand chart is going to be more often than not your offensive chart. Okay. Anything offensive coming out of your stand chart is going to be leading down a path for a mix-up. Now your mix-up might be jabbing and a mid, might be doing frame advantage, and maybe a low poke. It's whatever you decide you want to do. For this particular situation, we're gonna do down forward 1 and down back 3 with Feng Wei. Okay, so let's say we got Feng Wei. So yeah, if we do down forward 1 and it hits, then we know to automatically go back to one of our other flow charts and implement, let's say, flow stand chart number 14, which might end up being doing back 4 or sidestep. Okay, so if you get it blocked, then you have a defense chart, which you can decide like, oh, when somebody blocks such and such move, I'm going to my defense chart. Do I want to sidestep? And do I want to duck? Do I want to backdash? Do I want to challenge it with a power crush move? These are all things that you'll have in various defensive charts. Definitely going to need to figure out what you want to do. And like I said, each chart...
Brainstorming, that's what I thought of it too when I saw it.
Oh, yeah most definitely, bro. We got to keep it simple around here, right? So, now look down here. We got down back 3 as a second portion to our flow chart. Now, we know one was the mid, one was the low. All right, so what happens? Well, when we got the flow chart, we know if we do down back 3, if it gets blocked, we die. Okay, yes. We die. So you see what happens? Blocked, die. Okay. Now, if it hits, then you automatically spring into crouch chart number 1. Yep. So now you're like, dang, crouch chart. So you mean to tell me I can have flow charts within my flow chart? That's precisely what you need to do, is have flow charts within the flow chart, so that you don't have a long string of predictable charts, like I was saying about the round 1, where you have it mapped out from beginning to end. I'm gonna sweep them, then after I finish with the combo, I'm gonna flip on them, then I'm gonna sidestep and hop kick them, and then I'm gonna run over there and grab them, and that's gonna be the round. It's not that kind of flow chart. Okay, this is a flow chart to keep you constantly ahead in the game and not doing moves just simply with no reverence for what's going to happen when you do them. This right here is how you decide to create your mix-ups. Good point, Truth. You're right on the ball with it. You know what I'm saying? You're right on the ball. You're also balding. You know what I'm saying? Holla at my boy Spalding 404. Anyway, so we got the crouch chart, right? Now we know if we hit with down back 3, then it's going to, you're going to have to know your frames, and it's going to be different for each character. But down back 3 is plus 4 or 5, I believe, on hit. So that allows you to, plus 4 on hit. All right, so that allows for me to do my while standing 4.
Yeah, you can while standing 4, like if you think that they're going to try to come forward or like come with a move or whatever, then you can check them.
And I can check them with that and get my counter hit. And then you know what? Once it hits, while standing 4, once it hits, we're back at the stand chart. We got another stand chart we can go to. Go to stand chart 378, okay? And then whatever you got out of stand chart 378, you can make that happen, okay? Now, if it gets blocked, then we want to go to defensive chart 316, okay? Now, I don't know what your defensive chart 316 might be, but that is what you want to be doing. You want to see how that can pan out for you. Now, you'll say, well, what's the mix-up? Well, if you hit them with that while standing 4 enough, they're not going to want to move. They're not going to want to catch the counter hit. They can't sidestep out the way.
And then that's when you can bring in the rest of crouch chart 1.
That you can bring out the rest of crouch chart 1, which is full crouch, down forward 1, which is a low that they also will not be able to sidestep. So now they have to eat this mix-up. Once you hit them with the full crouch down forward one, guess what? Now you reset and go back to your crouch chart. And now you have options by which to choose. You know, wow, I'm back in the same situation. But you know this ahead of time. So you know, well, okay, I know if this hits, I know what my next move already is going to be. I know what my next mix-up already is. Instead of, oh, I hit him, let me hurry up and do something. If you already have it in your head ahead of time, then you know what? It's not going to be a problem. You're not going to be nervous about the moves you do. You're probably less likely to mess up your execution. Only thing you have to recognize is if it's hitting or if it's not hitting. And with Tekken, that is definitely not a hard thing to see. Now, you get to die if they block it. Okay?
Yes.
Now, it may not be launch punchable, but insert anywhere where there's a low, block also could be parried. And if this is your last speck of life, and you go with that option, regardless of how they punish you,
Means you're dead.
you could die, okay? Yeah. Always keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying? Always keep that in mind. Then you have this other option out of the crouch, which is sidestep. So I hit you with down back 3, and in this particular chart, I decide in crouch chart number 1, my mix-up is going to be on my sidestep, just in case they do something crazy. You know, they try to come up with a while standing 4, or they try to low jab me or something. And then I can sidestep them. And then when I sidestep, I can choose to block, because they may do something with a while standing tracking move. And I might just want to get them to do that so I can punish them. Or, you know, if I do block, that does what? Resets me back into stand chart, where I go back into my stand chart, do what I need to do, apply whatever mix-ups need to come, and then I have the down forward 3 out of sidestep. What does that lead to? On hit, combo. That's right, and you're not really risking anything. On block, I forgot to put the block in there, but because on block you'll be negative, not unsafe, but negative. Guess what? You reset back to your defensive chart. And now you got defensive chart 197. You know what I'm saying? Telling you that you should backdash. Or you should, I don't know, low parry. Okay? Those are going to be your options if that's whatever you have. You know what I'm saying? Next, what we're going to have out of there is sidestep 4. Now, sidestep 4, if it hits, guess what else you get? Combo! Okay, you get a combo. However, unlike down forward 3, you get blocked, you die. Okay? So, you see how that pans out. Now you're thinking to yourself like, man, that's a lot of information for just one stand chart. You know? Is this what a flowchart really is supposed to look like? You bet your bottom dollars. This is what a real flowchart is supposed to look like. All that other stuff people have you do, those are the gimmicks. Yeah.
I mean, if you're actually trying to explore options, especially in a game like Tekken where characters have so many options, this is, just like you said, this is what your flowchart is going to look like. I mean, like, this is kind of like what my thought process was. You know, if I play late, like if I started the match off, I just say like I'm gonna do down 4 or whatever. Well, if it counter hits and you can confirm it counter hitting, I'm gonna do the other 4 and then I'm gonna hold forward so I can transition into drunken. You know, since there's stuff from the counter hit that allows me to go forward, and then I can either go low with the 3, or if I think they're gonna crouch, I can go 2-2.
Listen to all this mess you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah,
all this mess you're gonna have to deal with.
It's like or I can go 2-2. Most of the time I went 2-2 because if you're in drunken, if they block 2-2, it stagger blocks them. And so then you can either continue to stay in drunken by holding forward, or you can transition back to normal by not pressing anything. And then they're on the stagger block, so you have slight advantage, and so you can go into your next stand chart.
He's on nothing but stand charts, okay? Stand chart, into stand chart, into stand chart, into stand chart.
That's kind of what Lei does sometimes, like in certain situations.
And y'all don't think the jump's ridiculous? So. Let me tell you about it. Anyway, so let's talk about what a defensive chart might look like, man. Let's look into a defensive chart. So this chart looks very, very similar, but it's different. We got the defensive chart. So let's say we go into the defensive chart and our chart says we want to block. Well, once you block, you know, the only two options out of the block is you go into the stand chart if they do something that puts them in a negative state, and you go into your defensive chart if they put something on you that is positive frames. Your chart ends right there as far as blocking.
Yeah.
On the other side of your defensive chart, you've got crouch.
It gets much deeper.
It gets much deeper. So then let's say, oh man, I crouch. All right, so when I crouch, now if I successfully crouched and didn't die for crouching, I now have that option of, okay, something similar. Let me do full crouch down forward 1 mix up, still applies. So if they see me down here, I can get my advantage and keep my pressure going, resetting over and over back into the crouch stance, into the crouch chart. Or let me try something different. Let me go for the gusto. Let me go for while standing 3. Because at this point, if I have successfully crouched, and let's say they did some jabs, what I'm doing next may not be guaranteed, or it may be guaranteed. But if it's not guaranteed, and let's say that they might attempt to try to hit us while in crouch, well, everyone should know this. While you can react to stuff in Tekken, there are certain things that it is more frame based than anything. So if you see somebody in crouch and you think to do a 13 frame move to punish them while in crouch, they're probably already coming up with a 16 frame move, and they're probably already out with the move 4 or 5 or, you know, maybe 6 frames before you even start cranking up your down forward 1. And so you're going to get launched and think to yourself, but he was ducking and my move was faster. But he reacted faster, okay? Because he already had his chart ready, okay? And so look how easily your defensive chart can slide right into an offensive chart. We got right back into crouch chart number 1. Well, this would actually be crouch chart number 3, you know, or number 2, you know. Crouch chart number 1 was while standing 4, you know what I'm saying? But so we're gonna say this is crouch chart number 2, and crouch chart 2 says we're gonna come up with while standing 3. If I hit him, I get a combo. If he hits me, I mean, if he blocks it, I'm dead. Okay. Now, also we have the side step in the same situation. We got the block, get us right back into the stand chart of our choosing. We got down forward 3, put us in the defensive chart of our choosing, and then we have the option of side step 4, which 2 out of those 3 options are going to lead to a combo on hit.
And side step 4, if you get it blocked,
you die. Okay, you die. You get up out of there real quick, like. So, you know, I hope y'all really understand the concept. Not all flowcharts are the worst, but if you're going to be using flowcharts, you need to use them intelligently. And this is about the most intelligent way I could think that you could pull off a flowchart if you are planning on doing something like a flowchart. You know, it's definitely a way that everything that's bad is good if you do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? In moderation, everything can be worth doing. Benticor, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the realm of the real. Only the real can chill. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that's right. The flowcharts are definitely simple. Something that you can take home. You know, you can make your own. You know what I'm saying? And you never would think that, you know, you hear the word flowchart and you just think to yourself, man,
it's got a negative connotation because people are like, oh, flowchart, he doesn't think. Like, the man just plays from this, you know, from these designated set of moves, and he'll never vary off of it. That's not necessarily true.
No, if you create a good flowchart, I call it a flow web, okay? Like the internet. You just keep adding information to it. It's only going to be more expansive, okay? You'll never find, you're always going to have habits, but make sure that your habits are informed, okay? As opposed to having habits that are just habits. That's what normal flowcharting is. It's just habits that are habits. After I do down back 3, I'm always going to do while standing 4, no matter what, because it's just ingrained in my mind. I don't even know why I'm doing it. It just feels right. You know, those are the types of flowcharts you don't want to be a part of. Okay, but those strategic flowcharts that I just showed you, you can take that and use it with every character. It'll help you break the game down offensively, defensively, way more than you would ever expect. You know, something like that, something just as simple as that is could be the difference between, you know, a tournament victory and a tournament loss. You know, that rank up and that rank down. You know what I'm saying? It's more to it than just little small, you know, small mix-ups. If you know the reasons behind the mix-ups and what they're used for, I'm telling you, it takes you a long way. I've been doing that for years, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing it for years without even actually putting it down. I've just been doing it mentally. But I decided, you know, I was trying to help out Limitless Guns today. We played a few matches. I saw what was going on with them. I was like, you know what, man? Here, I want you to sit down and give me this information, you know what I'm saying? When you do down forward 1, what do you think about next? What do you think your next choices are? And, you know, I realized telling him that, like, you know, this be great. This be great for the show. There's a lot of people out there that do moves and don't know why they're doing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a big thing. You know, I actually teach a lot of people how to play fighting games as well. That's a big thing is people do moves. And it's mostly like, you know, people do the moves and they're like, oh, well, you know, I'm not really thinking about why I'm doing them. You know, I'm just kind of doing moves. Because a lot of people, when they play games, they kind of turn their brains off. But you know, fighting games are definitely not a type of game where you should turn your brain off. Like, you definitely need to be thinking. You need to be thinking a lot of what your opponent can do in given situations. So,
most definitely. What's going on with you, Rick?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's not even like just the button mashing stage. There's people I know that have played fighting games for a long time who don't really think they're moving. I mean, it's nothing like that. So it's not just being a button masher. It's just not properly thinking your moves out. It's you thinking about stuff that you want to do to your opponent or you can do to your opponent, but you're not thinking about what your opponent can do to you.
Or you're not thinking about why you're doing it.
Yeah, or you're not thinking about why you're doing it. Like, one of the biggest things I ask people is, you know, we're playing Street Fighter or something, why do you throw a fireball? And you won't believe how few people can answer correctly why you should throw a fireball. It's absolutely nuts.
It chips.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to do something. He was over there blocking.
Like, oh, it's free chip, and if he gets hit by, you know, I can hit him across the screen. Like, yeah, those stuff are added bonuses. But that's not why you should throw a fireball.
Exactly.
You throw a fireball to control space. You throw a fireball to make your opponent do something. And in Street Fighter, you want them to jump.
Exactly.
That's one of the biggest things. So you know, a character like Ryu or Guile or something, you throw a fireball, and eventually you want to make them try to go faster.
Exactly. And you know, I always try to explain this to people. This is a concept that I came up with relatively recently. But in Tekken, a game like Tekken, you have to take into consideration that every move you do, unless a situation is guaranteed where a person cannot move, every move you do is a Dragon Punch. Off the ground Dragon Punch. Now, you think about it, and you say to yourself, Mike, come on, that's a little that's a little crazy. Come on, Mike, you're tripping. But no, that's definitely not the case. Because think about a Dragon Punch. A Dragon Punch is a highly punishable act. You know what I'm saying? It's a move that you try to do to noob out. You know what I'm saying? Or try to get some damage, or try to get somebody up off you.
Yeah, that's usually what you use it for, is to try to get yourself out of a situation that you don't really want to try to block your way out of.
Yeah, you don't want to be defensive and try to defend your way out of. You want to try to attack your way out. Well, just think about this. Let's say I do down back 3, and I decide I'm a backdash. Now you do a low jab. Perfect. Low jab, just, you know, it's not a...
Round 3.
it's not unsafe like that. I mean, it's negative on block, but you know, it's a low jab. What harm can a low jab be? Well, if I knew you were going to do a low jab, just like if I know you're going to do a dragon punch, or I just have a very good idea that you're going to do a dragon punch, how about I sidestep you or I backdash you, and for doing that low punch, you got super, you got hotkey, you got launch, you got down forward 2, you got shoulder tackle.
Yeah, you caught a low parry.
You caught a low parry. Like these things, something as simple as a single jab. If I have a good idea you're going to do it, I duck you and launch you.
Yep.
And this is why it makes Tekken such a incredibly balanced game, because everybody has these flaws. You know, all characters have these flaws. All characters have the ability to benefit off of guessing correctly. Some people get better benefits than other people, and as your tiers come into play.
You can see what just happened there. Like Swan couldn't finish it, but like, you know, he kind of knew that Silverbolt was going to dash back, so he went forward an extra amount and floated him with the jab.
Exactly. Those are the things that you have to take into consideration. And like I said, these flowcharts are something that you'll have to compile many of them. And with Tekken being the way it is, you've always got at least 16 options, you know. Now, if I was to, I should make a chart of like all the options you have at any given moment in Tekken. There
are the base options. Well,
yeah,
this is part of answering this guy's question. So Crypto's asking, do we have tips for figuring out flowcharts? The best way to do it, Crypto, is look at the characters that you play against the most. Start with those and look at their best options. Like you need to know their best options first. And so then you're like, okay, well, he can do this, this, and this, and then you web it out. So okay, so we'll go back to Fang. The Fang, you know, he's using down 4-1, right? Mm-hmm. Well, look at the web that Mike made for him, right? So if he hits with it, he goes back to stand, and then he can do something else. Like if you block it, then he's negative, and then he could stand there, or he could try to do this, or he could try to do that, or whatever. And then that's the best way to figure it out. You take your opponent's best moves first, and you see the situations that they can use them in, and you see the situations that they get from them, and then that's how you start to figure them out.
And if you want to do it for your own character, then you take your list, get your T7 chicken. Shout out my boy Nick. Get your T7 chicken. Sit down, look at the moves. Think about the speed of the move. Think about how useful it is in the neutral. And this is how you get your stand charts. You say, okay, in the neutral, what would I want to do in these situations? Do I want to do, if I want to go in for a quick mix-up, what's the best option for quick mix-up? Maybe doing down back 3, maybe doing down 2 and down forward 1. Maybe you want to mix up with 1 and 4, 1 plus 4, which gives you a whole bunch of frame advantage on hit, and then puts you back into a stand mix-up with advantage. You know, maybe you want to do something like back 4. It's got relatively decent tracking. It's mid. You know, these are all things that you need to take into consideration when you make your chart. Mm-hmm. And then once you start doing this, is 100% of solid gameplay, solid flowchart? Not necessarily, but it can be.
Yeah, like it's a good portion. I mean, like you're always gonna have like part planning, part execution, and part intuition or feeling. Because I mean, you still have to be able to read your opponent and kind of like feel what they're gonna do in certain situations. It can't all just be like, okay, well, this is all pre-planned, because there has to come a point to where you play against the player. Yeah. Also, so you know, for example, if you're looking for a certain move to punish, right? Yeah, the stream's getting choppy. Okay, well, I mean, if you're looking for a certain move to punish,
what's going on with that?
And that's part of your flowchart. That's part of your flowchart, and you're like, yeah, okay, let me go ahead and just go ahead and do this, and he's going to flowchart into this. But then your opponent does something different. That could throw you off incredibly, and then you'll end up losing a match because you're not playing against the player. You're playing your flowchart. You're playing a flowchart. Mm-hmm. So it's not always all flowchart. Like, it goes hand in hand.
Most definitely. You want to make sure that you have the ability to implement your flowchart. So when I say that, I mean, okay, I'll give you a good example. Let's say if I have Fang Wei and I do down forward 1, and I look and see what my opponent does, you know, and say I do down forward 1 and my defensive flowchart is to backdash and see what the opponent does. Okay, if I notice that the opponent doesn't do anything, I might run up again, do down forward 1, see if my opponent does anything. If my opponent doesn't flinch, okay, he's probably not going to duck. He's probably not trying to get hit by mids. So then I might just dash up, do down forward 1, and down back 3. Now that I know my process is, I'm going to go up and I'm going to do this down forward 1, I'm going to do down back 3 because it doesn't look like he's going to be ducking. And when I hit him with this down back 3, I'm going to go into crouch chart number 6. You know, this is what my plan is. Or just say I want to check him. Like, you know what? I'm going to just do all the checks and balances. I'm going to do while standing 4. It's uninterruptible unless they got a counter. You know, they can't sidestep it or nothing. So, he not only got hit, he got counter hit. So when he gets hit by lows,
he likes to
press buttons.
And so now you're combining your flowchart and you're combining playing against the player. So now you know that the player you're playing against likes to press buttons in a certain situation. So now you can set him up so you can exploit that. Like, here's actually one I use as an example a lot of times. With Jin, I'll go like 2-1 and I'll delay my 4, right? And I'll go back. And then there's a lot of times where like people will try to come forward in certain instances. And so then, you know, I'll try to time when I can forward if I think that they're going to try to come forward or something. And then I get the counter hit and I get the combo. And so last time I played or whatever, even though I ended up losing the set overall, I won a few games against Twan doing that because I noticed that there were certain times after certain things he would like to try to come forward and attack me. And so then I would get a counter hit forward. A counter hit forward 4. So that's the kind of stuff where like you can observe and you know your options, and then you're like, okay, well, he likes to try to swing here whenever I do this, so now I'm playing against the player and not just having my own flowchart.
Exactly. Those are always ways you want to look at any game you approach, but this is specifically Tekken. You know, this is something that it is very beneficial because there's so many outcomes. You know, when you play Street Fighter, I mean, either you're going to chuck the fireball, go through the fireball, jump over the fireball, or you're going to
walk forward or
step back. You know, those are about all your options. Tekken, if I jab you and you block it, you got a multitude of problems ahead of you, okay?
Yeah.
You're down on the frames, you can't jab me back, you don't want to duck, you don't want to get launched, you don't want to just sidestep and get hit by a homing move. You don't want to just backdash and let somebody run up and put the mix-up on you. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just stand there and take the mix-up. You don't want to jump in the air and get jabbed again. You know, it's like there's a multitude of problems you're dealing with just because you had to block a jab.
Yeah.
You know, but you can also make those advantages. You know, oh, he jabbed me, let me sidestep. So if he tries to do anything fast and linear, I'll be out the way and I'll get to destroy him for it.
Well, that's part of it, Joe. I'm going to expand on it and say that as a beginner, the best way to practice in a positive way, do what Joe's doing, but also find things that you're having problems with, like your first few matches or whatever. Let's say somebody keeps hitting you with a certain move. And you're like, man, every time he does this low out this string, and it's driving me bananas. Like, I'm getting hit. I don't know what to do. Set that training dummy to put you in situations where he's using the string. And then you're like, okay, if he does the string, what can I do? You know, what options do I have? You explore your options. Maybe you can sidestep the low or whatever. Maybe there's, you know, something else you can do out of it or whatever. But I mean, like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Joe. I'm just expanding on what you said, because like what you said is definitely something you should do. I mean, you need to get comfortable with your combos. You need to get comfortable with how the mechanics work in the game. But then, you know, there's a lot of people who go to training mode, and that's all they do. Yeah, they only do combos.
And I plan on doing a show about showing people how to actually use training mode. There might be a Tekken Tech in your future, okay? You know what I'm saying, about Tekken fundamentals and how to actually train in Tekken practice mode. Because a lot of people don't know how to use it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people deal with stuff in situations and they just try to figure that junk out on the battlefield. And I'm sorry, buddy, when they drop the nuke on you, it's too late for the radioactive suits, okay? It's too late to be trying to dig a bunker now. You're done, okay? The bomb has hit you.
Yeah.
You're out of here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not just you, Malicious. It's like I just said, like a lot of people don't know how to fully utilize training mode. Like it's, you know, you're not alone in that. So.
Most definitely, man. I'm glad to have y'all in here, man, taking the time, come kick it with your boys here as we make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, always a pleasure to have people come in here and want to learn stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
Y'all also, if y'all want to check y'all some new people to the game, check out that Scrub Dojo, okay? My boy Average Video Game Joe always taking in some young talent, okay? Always showing some love to those folks. Shout out to Average Video Game Joe. Give him a holler, give him a follow, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Scrub Dojo definitely in the building. That's just I want to just give that to y'all in part, you know, give y'all something to think about when it comes to flowcharts. If you hear somebody's a flowcharter, man, they're probably doing something weak. But after this stream, when you hear the term flowcharter, be wary. They might be using it not, okay? Probably not, but might be, okay? Right now we're gonna take a quick little break, piss break, you know what I mean? And we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Make sure that y'all check out these flyers we got coming up, and when we come back, we will be having an interview with one very own Silver Bullet, okay? Silver Bullet. He's one of the players here at the Tekken House. He is also a comedian. He's going to tell us more about his life, you know what I'm saying? You got to get to know these ATL players around here. And, you know, whatever else they're into in life, you know, just trying to make the scene, make you a part of our scene, you know what I mean? Make it just as comfortable to watch, you know what I'm saying, as it is for us to kick it with them, you know what I mean? And, till next time, man. Well, not next time. Till we get back. You know what I'm saying? Now you're trying to sign off that quick.
Yeah, hold on.
You know what I'm saying? We'll be right back. Catch you in a little bit, y'all.
Yeah.
Peace. Now, I said peace. That don't mean go nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Man, trying to end the stream. Oh,